No.
How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. This podcast is part of the Across the Board Sports podcast family. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the busiest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crumb. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing pretty good. Really quick, I just want to say thank you to everybody on Twitter. Last Monday, stuff happens. I wasn't able to get on, and we talk about Cowboys family, and whether you're like you hate Dak Prescott or you love Dak Prescott or you think Tank's overpaid or you love Tank and the paying the running back or not paying the running back, get a left tackle or get Parsons. Parsons the best. No matter what, we really are a family. And I'm from Frisco or from California, Fresno. And a lot of you guys are from Texas. And I know those two states are like supposed to battle and everything. But you guys showed a lot of love last week. And I really appreciate that. I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much. And I'll keep you all updated. But my blood work was great. So that's the first positive. And then we go from there.
Yeah, shout out to our Cowboys brethren. I mean, the people that do support this show, Mike, and have been our day ones and, showing love and support, man. You can't think of enough. And then now for, to be able to share your personal life and for them to take it even a step further and show love there, man, that's awesome.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy what a thing Twitter is. Like, I don't go on the other social media stuff much. I go on Instagram. I post some stories every once in a while. I post food. I'm not much of a TikTok person. I'm hardly on Snap. I'm hardly on Facebook. So I don't really use those, but I'm on Twitter all the time. And there's really the Cowboys group is a lot of us have grown really close, even though we will argue and bicker, whether it's Jesse, Massey, Dan the old ageist, Rupert, and we'll battle back and forth and stuff. But like, I really feel like if we were like near each other, we would go out like once a week and we would hang out. And if somebody had something happen, we would show up there for them. And I've never met none of y'all in person, not in person, but I would have been like, hey, something's going down. I'm there. Where's it at? Right. So it's just crazy how we've really through the trials and tribulations of dealing with the Cowboys front office and the pain of being a Cowboys fan, we become like family. And I am blind without my glasses. And it's just crazy. Like, people found out that I missed stuff because I was at the doctor and everything, and it just all kinds of love, man. So I just wanted to throw that out, let you guys know that it's really appreciated.
And, Mike, just to add on to that, not to take away from it, but also just you mentioned the people on Twitter, like talking to people that aren't even Cowboys fans. When we've had people come on from off sides, how welcoming they are, how cool they are, how respectful they are. They're not even Cowboys fans, but they themselves have shown support. They've enjoyed the show and kind of building a relationship with people even outside the Cowboys fan bases. It shows you the power of Twitter as well.
Yeah, it's crazy because my boy Tom Stakes, like one of the most hated people, the Mr. Verified, Mr. Verified, and now he's my guy on there. Like we'll yell at each other a little bit about different stuff because he is an Eagles fan, and he's saddled with a terrible quarterback, and he'll like talk about how overrated Dak Prescott is, but he'll play up Jalen Hurts like Jalen Hurts is going to be the next, and I'm like, oh man, you're going to talk about Dak Prescott, Han, like knock him, but all right, man, good luck with that over the next couple of years. So it's fun. It's all fun.
Yeah, shout out to our boy LP who's hitting us up in the chat. Mike, he likes the new look. What are your thoughts on the overlay here?
Oh, I love it. And you keep sending me. I should have said I like it.
Golly, dude. I'm like, I don't know how he actually feels about anything because he's like, oh, dude, I like it. I like
Yeah,
it. I like it. I like it.
he'll
I'm like, God, dog.
he'll send me stuff in the DM, and he's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "I like it." And he's like, "You
That's it.
like
I like it.
everything?" I'm like, "I like it. I don't know what to. It's good. I like it."
Well, hey, I wait for the criticism. I say I want the criticism, but when you finally give it to me, I'm going to be heartbroken, Mike.
Yes, I do really like. That's the thing, though. I really like the stuff you put there. You show me.
Yeah.
I like it. So that's what I say. I like it. Yeah, it's awesome. But it's easy and it explains how I feel. Yep, I like it.
So, okay, when you cook something for everybody and somebody goes, "Oh yeah, I like it," and that's all they ever say about every meal, how do you feel about that as a chef?
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't like that. Yeah, I'd probably be like, yeah, I would want like, well, what do you like about it? Is it
Yeah.
salty enough? Is it, is there good balance? Yeah, I would want more description, but that's food. Food's,
Yeah,
food.
I agree there. It's totally different, but at the same time, man, you want to hear some sort of feedback more than I like it.
I do like it. It's really
Well,
good. I like it. I
hey, you know
like
what?
all
I'll
the stuff.
take it.
I
You
like
like
all
all the
the
stuff?
stuff.
Hey, man, you know what? For somebody who doesn't win very often, I'll accept that, Mike. So we're talking about cooking and everything, and that's going to kind of be a smooth transition to our first segment, of course, Mike. But before we get into it, you were talking about your family on Twitter. Where can they find you there?
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
I like the addition of Mike Crumb. Is that something you just added, or has that always been there?
I put it on there because it was asked of by KD. He was like, CD Piglet's cool, but you need to put your name. People need to know Mike Crumb. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do that,
Wait, is
So
that does KD watch the show?
I don't, dude, KD, I hope not, because I got for LP who's on. No, listen, I have two things done and two debate battles. Me and
Yeah.
Dan's debate and me and LP's debate done, and he hasn't got. I think it's because free agency's going. He's not really worried about the draft stuff right now, but he hasn't put any of them out. And I'm like, damn, man, because I was so on point on Christian Watson and Jermaine Johnson. I knew those guys are going to fly up boards, and I wanted those two post out before Senior Bowl because I knew
Right.
the minute they got seen at Senior Bowl, they were going to fly up every board in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And now I really like these draft debates, and I want to get them out. And I think once I get a couple, then I can go to Tuck and go, hey, yours is next, and yours. But I don't want to start like, what am I going to go to Massey for and be like, hey, let's start our debate thing if I can't get the LPs and Dan's, posted yet. So if KD, you're the best boss, I don't care how long you take. If you are watching, take your time. Make me look good. You edit really well. So love you. Love you, KD. Watch
Yes,
Catch the Spade. That's their podcast. It's well worth the money. I pay for it. I work for them and I pay for that podcast, by the way.
I've still never listened to an episode. That's no disrespect to you, KD, or to you, Mr. Patrick Patrick No C Walker, but I don't know. I mean, I try to support everybody, but man, there's a lot of us.
Yeah, there is. I just love those two. And it's the boss. Like, bro, boss, gotta put on for the boss. That's the boss. You want your workout? You want the editing done well? Yes, sir. $10 subscription video, sir.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into our first segment, Mike, let me let the people know where they can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, those who are familiar with the show already know what our next topic will be, but for those who aren't, every Monday, Mike has a Meatless Monday where he doesn't consume any meat, obviously. So, Mike, before we get into it, let us know what was on the Meatless Monday menu.
Unfortunately, guys, it's all stuff you've heard before. It wasn't really anything fun. I have not slept much in 2 days, so I'm not like going all out on the prep and cook. So the cauliflower pizza, of course, is a staple. I have that like at least once or twice a month. And then I bought some sweet corn tamales. And yeah, and those are some of my favorites down at Vallarta. The corn ones are I like it because they're the best and they're also meatless. So I can get them and have them on that day. And then I don't remember what I had for breakfast. Oh, I made pancakes. So I had pancakes for breakfast. I had a couple sweet corn tamales for lunch, and I just finished cauliflower crust pizza before we got on. So not bad.
As far as the pancakes go, are you a pancake or griddle cake guy?
What?
Like, the griddle cake's kind of with the kind of crunchy exterior.
Oh, you like to fry the batter a little bit when you make.
Yeah.
To be honest, I probably like the griddle cake more. I like the texture, but I almost never make them because I'm too impatient. In the morning, I'm like, duh. I just want something so I can have my coffee and take my insulin.
Yeah.
So I make really good protein pancakes, but yeah, griddle cakes, when you let the butter get really hot and you add a little bit of oil with the butter so it fries a little bit, it's really good.
I actually made some griddle cakes for my wife and I on Sunday morning, and I hadn't made pancakes in a while, but they really hit the spot. But I immediately wanted to take a nap after about 2.
Yeah, that's the problem. I had 2 pancakes and no sleep. And honestly, after I eat the pancakes, the only sleep I got was in this damn chair from 6 a.m. to 7:30 after I had the pancakes. I was just like, nap time before work. I was out.
That hour and a half, I'm sure that did you some good though.
Oh, I needed it. The hour and a half did good, but the coffee and the half a bottle of red line, that got me through the workday.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, let's talk some football. And of course, this is the show sheet from last week, but I feel like these topics are still relevant. However, this first question here, I believe, was answered for both of us. Jerry Jones, he had quite a lot to say today, and one thing in particular was the Randy Gregory contract mishap. What were your thoughts on his comments there?
They're kind of trying to save face.
Yeah,
They thought they had the contract done. Jerry thought he had it done. In a market where things are competitive, you can't just assume stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's another team breathing down your neck that wants the player. The agent is from there, so you really got to make sure, pen to paper, every detail. And that wasn't done. And so, obviously I put that on the front office because you had the deal done and you let it slip through your hands for whatever reasons. And it was a major mistake. And them, the latest thing where they have 3, we got 3 players for one. I'm like, yeah, let's go into Madden and try to do, let's trade Dorrance Armstrong, who I love personally, but he's unproven. LVE, who just is not a good enough player in the NFL since he just had too many injuries. Just no good. And who the hell else did they get? Dante Fowler. Yeah. Try to send that trade through. You have 2 guys that both had one good year, first round bust, basically, is what they were. Dante Fowler was pretty much a bust. LVE was a bust, except they both had one really good year. And then Dorrance Armstrong, who, I will say this, if he breaks out, they look great because say he gets 9 sacks, this next year, which with Parsons and Tank, if they're healthy, absolutely possible. He got 5 to 5.5 last year on 56% of the snaps, and was injured. He only played 13 games, I think. So is it possible he comes out, gets 9 sacks, say Gregory has 11, has a really good year as 11, everybody's going to go, well, you had 2.5 sack different or whatever for, that big of a contract. So everybody will go, oh, what a great move. Right. But it's a lot to hope and hey, let's hope this happens. There's a lot of that. Let's hope Dorrance Armstrong takes the next step. Let's hope Dante Fowler could get back that 1 year that he was great. Let's hope LVE could play like his rookie year. If you got Randy Gregory, you knew what you were going to get. Like, we can act like, oh, he was only this. Dude, he was a good player. Stop. Now that he's gone, don't try to, everybody was happy. That contract was really good, too. Forget the 5 years, 70. It was less than 50% guaranteed. They had an out after 2 years. Like, that Randy Gregory contract was stellar. And they lost a valuable piece, and it's too bad.
So when you think Jerry was saving face, do you think he was embarrassed that he messed up the deal, or he was trying to protect Steven?
Oh, he was trying to protect his guys. When he got off the phone, the deal was done.
Yeah.
And then the minute you're not like with your boys, Jerry's like the guy. You guys saw the Tank interview where, Stephen Jones like, yep, my dad's not taking this. I can tell you that right now. You should have just took our 1 year 10 million. You should be lucky we offered you that. And then he goes and the dad's like, Jerry's like, well, yeah, of course. He's been loyal to us, a great player. Like, this is a good contract for both sides. We'll take it. But the son is just Jerry is a bad GM. If you look at it without Jimmy Johnson, he's been very bad. He hasn't hired good coaches. He's made bad moves. They've allowed Rod Marinelli to influence drafts so that you draft Tristan Hills instead of Juan Thornhills, and you draft Taco Charlton instead of TJ Watts. But Stephen Jones is miraculously worse. Like another level worse. Like, he makes Jerry Jones look like a good GM in comparison to how bad he is at his job. So, I'm putting it on him because why wouldn't you? There's no evidence that he doesn't F everything else up.
What I heard from Brian Broaddus was that after the season ended, negotiations weren't going very well between Gregory and the front office. Like, they were telling him, that he was a team leader, but they also were wanting to pay him like he was still the guy that couldn't stay on the field and things like that. So he was getting frustrated. And then when they finally got the contract done, they tried to slide in that agreement about this being suspension and, all the money being non-guaranteed and things like that. It kind of sounded like the agent who has a relationship with the Broncos was looking for any reason to get Gregory out of that deal.
Yeah, could have been. He probably doesn't want to deal with Stephen Jones.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Why would you? As an agent, why would you want to deal with the guy that's like, why think of how, what a waste of time it was for Bobby Wagner. Friggin' all-pro multiple times over. Had a very good season last year. Not like he had some crazy drop-off, He was killing it versus the run. He's an elite run player. He's a decent coverage guy still. And you got to go into this interview where I just can't say. He's like some hot shot. Oh, look, you get to play for Dallas. We'll offer you this same bullshit deal we do everyone else where we don't even give you $7 million a year, and it's like, you wasted Bobby Wagner's time, basically. And it's just, I understand why agents would be like, don't go to this place. If everything's even, let's go somewhere else so we don't have to deal with them. We can deal with competent GMs and owners who hire GMs to do the job instead of owners whose main thing is to win every deal, win every negotiation. It's dumb.
So you kind of touched on it there, Mike, but in your eyes, how big is the loss of Gregory? I'm going to go back to last year's stats. Not that stats are everything, but 6 sacks, 19 combined tackles. A total tackles would be 34. And tackles for loss 4 and 17 quarterback hits. I mean, how big of a loss do you think that production is?
It's an enormous loss, and the reason is this isn't Madden where you just load guys where you put a guy in. Tank's gonna miss some games. He just always does. So now you're talking, right? If you line them up right now, Dorrance Armstrong, Tank, Basham, Golston, Fowler, not bad, because Parsons is your real second pass rusher. When it comes down and you need to get to the quarterback, you're likely going to slide Tank down, move Parsons to that side, and have those two attack one side as your primary pass rushers, and have the other side not allow them to escape, the quarterback to escape, and to clean up from your elite pass rush on the one side. So that's not bad. But then you have to factor in Tank gets hurt. If Parsons has to move the defensive end, who's your linebackers? Is Cox going to be back in time to be effective early? Like, if you have Randy Gregory, you're talking, you have two guys. When you go down to that third down and Tank slides over, and you're talking Randy Gregory, Tank, Parsons, that's yikes. That's yikes for any quarterback. Is like, okay, we got to get the ball out fast. The rush is going to be coming. That helps out your defensive backs, because as the year goes on, Diggs and Bossman will know, hey, we could jump these. They're trying to get rid of the ball quick. Let's jump them. Our defense has got our back. If we jump it and we're wrong, the pass rush will get there. And now you're kind of wait and see mode. You've opened a hole at the edge position that you didn't have if you complete this transaction.
I don't know, Mike. I think about it, and I know that you can't just base everything off of production, but Randy Gregory himself, this is the second time in 5 years that he's played double-digit games, and I'm not holding his past against him, but I just feel like with the addition of Fowler and the addition of, hopefully with the emergence of Armstrong, hopefully the surgeons, or, at least just being consistent, that they can fill that void. I really feel like they can, especially with Dan Quinn.
I know, it's a lot of hope when you had a guy on a really good contract. And Randy, we say what we want about Randy Gregory's past. He's not hope. He gets pressure on the quarterback. And
Right.
Him and Tank barely got to play together. And in the games that, there's a stat out, in the games that had Parsons, Gregory, and Tank, they led the NFL in QBR allowed, yards per play, yards per attempt. It was ridiculous. And it's hard to replicate that, because defenses know, hey, we need to shade a little bit towards Gregory. He's tough. We always got to watch Parsons. Tank is a monster at pass rush win rate. So it's a different type of defense now with Gregory out there. You're going to have to cover better. You're going to have to hope an Armstrong, makes a jump, or hope Dante Fowler can go back to the person he was 3-4 years ago. So I'd have rather had the bird in the hand personally.
I hear you. So, I was, spoiler alert, I kind of gave away our next topic here, but it sounds like you don't feel that Armstrong and Fowler are good enough to fill that void. Is that right?
Okay, so Fowler's a hope and a prayer. He's had one really great year. He's played under Quinn before he was no good. I'm not even going to put him to make the team. If he does something great, he's only 28, but I'm not banking on him doing anything. If he does, he reminds me of Curse. Only Fowler has a little bit more pedigree because he was an earlier pick, but it's one of those ones coming in that I'm like, if he adds anything, great, but I'm not expecting anything. I think Basham will have a better year than him because he's been in the system, this new system with Quinn. But Armstrong, he's 24 years old. You just can't go, oh, he's not going to get better. He's a 24-year-old. Look at what Tank was at 24, what Gregory was at 24. This is where they start to make their moves to become better. And he's going into his 5th year now, 2nd year under Quinn, where he had his best year. 13 games started, 56% of the snaps. He had 5.5 sacks, I believe it was, 5 to 5.5. And so he is a guy that could be on the rise. And if he is, you can replicate that production. But it's a lot of hope, hoping Dorrance Armstrong develops, hoping there's a resurgence of Fowler. I don't love that, but it is what it is right now.
So how do you feel about this, though? Tank and Dorrance Armstrong starting at defensive end with Micah, Fowler, and Van Der Esch at linebacker.
Oh, I don't like Van Der Esch linebacker at all. I would say you go Keanu or Curse. Sorry, you go Curse and
Coach Micah Fowler
as your linebackers is Curse and Fowler, or Curse and Parsons. Your rushers as Armstrong and Tank, and then bring the extra defensive back in, or have Wilson play like a deep safety that can move up if necessary. But that's how I do it. I'd have our defunct linebackers until Cox is ready to be Curse and Parsons.
I understand, Mike, that you mentioned the bird in the hand here. It's crazy to me that Fowler is been in the league 1 year longer than Randy Gregory, but he's 2 years younger.
Yeah, it's insane, and he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on him as far as you wouldn't be shocked if he came. It wouldn't be something where you were like, oh my god, like wow, he did this and that. He has talent. He was a top 5 pick. He's always made a team no matter what. No matter what he did the year before, somebody's taking a chance on him. So the talent is there. Could Quinn, the defensive coordinator, get it out of him better than Quinn, the head coach, could in Atlanta?
As far as Fowler goes, do you know what his strengths are? Is he elite against the run? Is he an elite pass rusher? What are his strengths?
He's a bendy pass rusher. He's
like Gregory.
A little different. Gregory got a little bigger. He got up to 260 and wasn't as much as like a get off and bend around the corner guy like Fowler could be. Fowler's one of those forced fumble guys if he's doing well, because he just beats the guy around the edge and then boom, ball strip. So he's kind of the bendy type, and Randy Gregory was kind of slippery, I think is a better word for him.
Yeah.
Could beat people inside more by getting off quick and getting people off balance on the outside and getting back in. He had a little bit better hand usage as far as physicality, but Dante Fowler is like a get off the ball, bend around your left tackle, tackle the quarterback, strip the ball. He's that type. He didn't live up to other than the 1 year he had double-digit sacks. He doesn't really live up to the big billing, that he had coming out of college.
Looking at we bring back Dorrance Armstrong, we sign Fowler, we have Chauncey Golston, and we also have Basham. Do you feel that defensive end is still a need for the Cowboys?
I do not. I think your defensive ends your real defensive ends are Parsons and Tank. Right. When it comes down to 3rd and 14, we got to get to Gregory or to Brady. Yeah. I think Parsons and Tank will be the edge rushers. Dorrance and Basham and them can rotate, can do stuff in there. But with those two, you're pretty good. My worry is the linebacker. I don't like LVE. Cox, when is he going to be ready off an injury? Curse is good and Parsons is good, but if Parsons has to play the edge and Curse is getting a tight end, who's your thumping middle guy? I hate that as LVE. That's bad.
Yeah, I thought that you look at last year next to Micah, I thought LVE had a solid season. Nothing that eye-opening, especially when you look at his contract. It was obvious that maybe the Cowboys didn't feel that highly of him either, but it was nice to see him stay healthy.
Yeah, it was nice to see him stay healthy. He honestly just was. He's below starter quality. Like if he's your starter, you want to do better than that.
Yeah, it's just when you're next to a guy like Micah, anybody's gonna look good, right?
Yeah, it's like a running back with a really good offensive line. Was it the running back or was it the offensive line?
Yeah. So you've mentioned linebacker quite a few times tonight, Mike. Would the addition of Bobby Wagner fix the remaining holes on this defense?
Yes, sir, it would. Oh, the defense under Dak Prescott has had one huge weakness, and it's been the run stopping component. And Bobby Wagner is elite versus the run. He's just a tackling machine. He sees it before it happens. Yeah. He tackles and doesn't miss tackles. He's He's really excellent, even though he's getting older. He still does that really well. And you wouldn't really need him to cover a lot, in the big downs. You wouldn't match him up on the tight ends. You have Curse, you have Cox, who's going to be coming back. Micah Parsons can cover. You have Malik Hooker. So, you have the options in coverage. You need a run stopper because it's been the biggest weakness of the Dak era is the run defense. So, yeah, I would love to get Wagner. God, can you imagine? Man,
1 year, $11 million. I mean, that could be the signing of free agency steal of the century.
Easily. And that's the word is what he's looking for. 1 year, $11 million.
And what Cowboys are working with, 17 million, or is it 27 million still?
Cowboys are working with, we don't sign anybody that's over 6.5 million from another team. That's what they're working with. Unfortunately.
Man, how crazy would it be if we waited until June and Wagner wasn't signed, he decided to take that deal?
I'll cry. I'd be like happier than I was with Brent Urban, happier than I was with the CeeDee Lamb pick, happier than I was with the Trayvon Diggs pick. I would be ecstatic if that happened.
The way you're talking about our linebackers, Mike, it's kind of making me want to take one in the first round.
Not the first, but you probably need to get one in the first 3 rounds.
So sticking with a linebacker discussion, with the addition of Bobby Wagner, give the Cowboys offseason a B grade or higher. I know that as of right now, I believe I saw last week you said you had them at, was it a D?
Yeah, if you got Bobby Wagner, you would be, especially with the Curse signing too, since then. Yeah, I would say you're a solid in like the B plus area if you brought in Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy to think that we've been pretty upset overall about the moves that the Cowboys have made, even though we brought back some core defensive players, but that one signing could really be the difference maker.
Yeah, I agree. It's the one that it just fits what they need. Like the whole Dak era has been the Rams running up their butt, the Colts running up their butt, the Niners running up their butt. They just don't have that guy that puts it on in the run game. They really don't. And it's frustrating. They just don't. I love that they got Brent Urban, but like it's a signing that they, a cheaper one. He did get fully guaranteed. Like it wasn't a nothing signing. They did give him a little bit of money and they guaranteed it and stuff. So that it proved that they were trying. But to have Bobby Wagner right there and think like, well, instead of Bobby Wagner, we could get LVE and another guy, and you're like,
yeah. Wait, did we re-sign Brent Urban?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
No, word is that they might think about throwing 1 year less than $7 million somewhere in there at Hakeem Hicks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Hakeem Hicks from the Bears. That's word. So
I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah, me neither. I think as a pure run stopper at this point before injury, Urban was better. But Hicks brings a little bit of a playmaker, a swagger, a big play game player to the mix also.
I keep hearing, I don't know if you've heard this, Mike, you're more connected than I am, but I keep hearing all this trade discussion. Have you heard any rumors about potential trades for the Cowboys?
I have not. There was the Diggs thing, which was never a thing. It was it was not going to happen. I haven't heard anything like that. Not since LC got cut.
Mike, we know how everybody feels about Bobby Wagner, but is there another guy? I know a name you've mentioned a couple of times, but is there another free agent you're hoping Dallas might kick the tires on?
Urban. I'd like Brent Urban back. I know he's not exactly a free agent from another team. And then there's a few linebackers you could go through and pick up depth-wise, and Will Hernandez. Hernandez would be a great.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, that'd be a great pickup. A little bit of attitude, and some power inside, and maybe with new O-line coach, he can make some things happen.
Thing about Will Hernandez, though, I know he wasn't in a good situation, but all I've ever heard about him are just issues with effort. And I hate that. That's like kind of my pet peeve.
Yeah, I don't really like that either. I would understand why people wouldn't go for him if that was, one of the issues.
So another player that got signed a couple weeks ago, Mike, was James Washington. Did that move the needle for you at all?
I think he's the Gallup insurance.
Yes.
Gallup's the go deep, go up and get it guy. So I don't even have Washington really as a wide receiver 3 or 4. I think he's for the first 5 games. Make sure Gallup is brought back slowly. He gets in, and maybe by game 5 or 6, he can come off the pup list or whatever they have. And during that time, Washington becomes the X wide receiver whose job is to beat press and try to beat guys deep, which is kind of what he does well. So I think that's his job. And then after that, I think they would want like Fioku or a rookie or one of them to kind of be more of the guy, because James Washington's only going to be around 1 year.
Yeah, I view James Washington as like you said, our Gallup insurance in case he's not ready for the beginning of the season. But he's still, to me, no more than a wide receiver 4.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, he's a better wide receiver, but he's not as good a wide receiver 4 because of how many things Wilson brought to the table.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. I think he'll make some big plays. I think he's a deep play threat, and now he has a quarterback that could throw it past 20 yards. So I think he'll make some plays, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Well, Mike, I've got some breaking news, some sad news. Shout out to the Star Vision for sharing this with me. But apparently, Will Hernandez signed with Arizona today.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Hey, I always heard that guy had attitude problems and he's lazy. Screw him.
Yes, big shout out to the Star Vision. Are you familiar with the Star Vision at all?
Of course. Yeah, Star Vision's they have a group that you definitely know from the chat. Because I don't want to go into specific names because I'll miss some and then feel bad, but they've definitely had some mentioned already.
Well, Star Vision, I'm not sure who you are. I guess I do know who you are, but I appreciate you tuning into the chat and sharing the news, man. I'm not as smart as Mike. He's the nice guy. He's the brains behind this operation, if you didn't know that already. So, Mike, we're talking what's that?
I just said Star Vision. 3 hours sleep in 2 days, dude. You got to.
I thought there for a minute you were about to doze off in the chair. I'm not going to lie.
No. I'll go like this for a headache thing that I have going on, but you're good. I'm listening. I'm there with you. You'll hear me chime in right after.
No, you're good. So we've talked a lot about the additions the Cowboys have made, but when you look at the losses of Amari Cooper, Lyle Collins, Connor Williams, and of course Randy Gregory, are these major losses or do you view them as replaceable?
I think they're pretty big losses. The Gregory one's pretty bad. Like, man, it's just having 3 pass rushers like Randy Gregory, Tank Lawrence, and Micah Parsons is just special. It's real, and they can come from so many different areas because Parsons can blitz. Parsons can go next to Gregory. Tank can move down and Parsons can play the edge. Like, that is a big loss. Now go through the other ones one more time for me.
Amari Cooper, Lyle Collins, Connor Williams.
Not for me. No. I think Cooper, I understood that. $20 million. He played, but he could hardly practice. I get where they're going with that. He's I think you'd like to do something like Gallup as your X, Lamb as your Z, and then get a slot guy who's interchangeable. So all of them can move to the slot, but in base, you'd have Lamb as your Z and Gallup as your X. The problem is Cooper was always the Z, and he's great and everything, but I get that one. I didn't kill him for that one. I was mad more about the Schultz tag than I was about the Cooper, I I said the minute they brought out the stuff about him being released that the best they were going to do is a day 3 pick, and they got the 5th round pick and they swapped 6th so that they got the earlier 6th round. So, they did what they could do since they effed it up by letting it known that he was going to be got. But I think their offense could be great. You had one of the rookies, a Pickens, a Sky Moore, Burks. You had Garrett Wilson, Jameis Williams to one of those rookies to this lineup. Christian Watson. You're still going to be a baller ass lineup. So I'm not worried about that. But the LC was going to be a backup. People kill Biotish, but by the end of the year, Biotish was out playing both tackles, which isn't saying a lot because both those tackles were playing like trash for most of the year, trying to come back and forth off of injuries, and LC with a suspension. So I think obviously LC is better than Steele. Don't get it twisted, but I think with another year Steele in the system, another year in the books, another year in the weight room, they'll be pretty passable for each other. And Connor Williams was just a average guard. So you get Green in the first round, the likelihood is you got a better guard. You get Zion Johnson, you probably have an upgraded guard. So Randy Gregory is a big one. The others are replaceable.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. You said it perfectly. Randy Gregory really is the only one that's like, who, if we could have seen him stay on the field, you probably look at his production and he didn't have any of those personal issues. We'd probably be talking about a potential superstar defensive end. But outside of that, I mean, Connor Williams, he had his moments, but he dealt with injuries. Lyle Collins, after these last 2 seasons, he couldn't be trusted. And Cooper, he had injuries as well. And then just kind of, you think about when you have a guy like Lamb and you have a guy like Gallup, I mean, that third wide receiver can be pretty replaceable regardless of how good they might be. You don't need to have a superstar third wide receiver.
Agreed. Not 20 million,
Especially not for 20 million.
Yeah, just that's the reason. The reason that the draft picks came in so low is people are like, we'll give you a higher pick, but you take on the contract. You want us to take on the contract, the best you're going to get is a day 3 pick. Dallas needed the cap space because we have Stephen Jones.
So when you look at those losses, Mike, should Dallas, continue to fill needs through the draft, or do you feel like they should take the best player available?
You always add need to BPA. Dallas shouldn't be drafting a running back or a high up running back or a high up quarterback because they have who they have. So you can't just go straight BPA, but it's BPA with need factored in. So I would say that they need to hit a wide receiver and an offensive guard, and they'll likely attack those 2 positions first. Mm-hmm. And then you need a tight end, you need a linebacker, you need a defensive end if possible. So from there on, from after you get your 2 main ones set, you could kind of fill in the roster where you need. Like obviously Dalton Schultz on the tag, that 11 million is going to come off the books. They're going to get a comp pick. We're going to need a tight end there, to build up for the rookie year while Schultz starts. That way he can come in year 2 and kind of be the guy. So, they have needs that they need to fill, but wide receiver, offensive guard are the 2 big ones.
Well, Mike, I don't know how much you've heard about this, but, we're going to play a little fill in the blank here. And with the NFL not as high on Jermaine Johnson as draft Twitter is, if you felt to pick blank, the Cowboys should trade up for him.
Oh, this is a hard one because that is my guy. Jermaine Johnson is I think he's going to go before Thibodeau I think he's going to be the 3rd edge taken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're going to go. I think it's going to go Aiden Hutchinson, Walker, and I think Jermaine Johnson's going to go before Thibodeau. And Thibodeau will be somewhere in the 9 to 12 range, and he'll be the 4th edge. I think edges are going to go real early in this draft, but I'm not trading up in this draft. I just don't feel like the value's there that you need to have the picks, especially us needing to fill holes, knowing we're not going to be active as real free agents in free agency. We're not going to go get a Bobby Wagner to fill a hole to improve the team. So I need those bullets. And if I'm trading up, I'm trying to trade up from 88, get into the 60, 70 range for a better third round pick,
Yeah.
But that's it. Now, that said, if he got to 14, that's probably where you would have to go get him, and he's worth it because he's a stud. So if he fell, I would jump the Eagles and try to get him. If you told me we had to trade up and get him, I would try to jump the Eagles to get him.
Yeah, unfortunately, David Ojabo, who suffers that untimely injury, suffers the ACL. I wonder if he would be in consideration at 24 for the Cowboys.
Achilles. He tore his Achilles, which is worse. He will not be an option at 24 for Dallas.
You think he gets taken before then?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, do you think he gets taken before then?
No, I think he'll go in the he'll go sometime in day 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was going to take a year as it is because he was so raw. And so losing the year that you were going to build him up to COVID, it's just too much. I think he might even – he's very talented, but he's probably going to be something that somebody gets in the back end of the second, would be my guess.
A lot of people are predicting the Cowboys should take a guard here in the first round, Mike. As far as the insurance goes, we know that the Cowboys like to protect themselves. Is there any insurance free agent out there for left guard right now? We know that Hernandez is no longer available.
That was my guy from the notes because, like you said, this was from next week. So my guy was Hernandez. With him gone, I don't see it. I think this is something where, unfortunately, you kind of pigeonholed yourself into the drafting one.
And, Mike, guys, forgive me because that actually I meant to add this into my notes, but we are adding a new segment. It's going to be called Ask the Guys. And that question was actually provided by JJ, a.k.a. JJ for Let's Go on Twitter. He sent in a couple of questions he wanted us to discuss. Mike, and that was his question for actually last week. So, JJ, forgive me if you're listening, man. I apologize for not giving you the proper respect there. But, yeah, we appreciate that question. And, Mike, I apologize. You said that there was one more guy out there that you liked?
No, Will Hernandez was kind of my guy at left guard. The way I look at it is you're going to draft one now, and McGovern's going to be your backup. I don't love a lot of them. I'm sure I could be talked into another one, but Will Hernandez I thought was the guy that if we got him, he could possibly start.
A name I've heard a lot about is J.C. Treader.
Center. See, I'm not looking to upgrade center.
He's a center. Okay, for some reason I thought he was a guard.
No, he's the old center from the Browns, and he's excellent. And he's probably an upgrade on the field, but I just like young Biotish. I think he played better, and with him being he's like the NFL PA guy. And I don't know, sometimes that's hard to have in the locker room. I know it stinks to say, but you want to get stuff done, and if the NFL PA guy's going, well, we don't really have to do that, by bargain. It's like, dude, we're just trying to get through this stuff, like the captain stuff and everything. I don't need somebody in there messing that up. Biotish didn't do that bad. I'll stick with Biotish.
Okay. Again, Chat, thank you, JJ, for the question, man. We appreciate that. And to any of our other listeners, if you ever want to hear Mike and I discuss anything, just shoot us a DM at Paul Ryan 15 or at CD Piglet, or you can tweet it at the podcast account, ATB Cowboys Pod. Here we are, Mike. We're at our views from the front row. Did you watch anything good last week?
You know what? I saw X, the horror movie.
How was that?
I liked that. I liked it. It's an old school 80s style horror flick.
Yeah.
One of those ones where it's half nudity for half the movie and then half extra violent gore. And it reminded me of the Tom Savini days. They did a good job with the kills and the violence of it. I also watched Deepwater, which another one I like, the thriller on Hulu with Ben Affleck and what is her name? De Armas.
She's from Knives Out. I know who you're talking about.
Very, very beautiful young lady, obviously.
Yeah.
And that movie I like too. And I also am the Lakers show. God, that is great.
Oh, okay.
The with Magic and
John
John
C.
C.
Riley,
Riley is
right?
very.
Yeah.
If you even know about Magic, it's worth it. And if you're a Lakers fan, it's like best show on television. Good.
Oh, really?
I love because the source material is what I grew up on.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, Magic Johnson coming to the Lakers and going through and dominating.
So, Mike, I'm going to make you proud for the first time in podcast history.
Okay.
I watched the classic '90s movie last week. Although I did fall asleep at the end just because it was probably like 2:00 in the morning. But I'm gonna say a line from it. I'm gonna see if you can guess the movie. Okay.
Okay.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah, that's don't tell me that. I know if I wasn't on 3 hours sleep, I'd have had
I
that
know.
instantly.
I know you have it on the tip of your tongue right now.
Yeah, I know. You even did the voice good. It's Con Air.
Yes, sir.
Sleep. I don't need sleep. I would have got that instantly if I was not sleeping.
Was that a good line to share though?
Yes, very good one. Now I would have done oh my God. See, now the sleep's got me because I know 1,500 lines from that movie. You could do the man who killed more. He claims he killed more men than cancer. You can I love the what do you think's wrong with them? I'd say a lot. I just it's so good. Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
With
Ving Rhames,
yes.
John Malkovich. Dude, the all-star cast. And I mean, the dialogue wasn't really that cheesy. I feel like that movie has stood the test of time.
10 of 10. You won't get a bad word out of Con Air from me. 10 of 10. Like up there with Predator, Face Off, what's the one with us? Die Hard, right up there with them. Nicolas Cage was a badass at that time. His new movie looks so good. You see that where he plays himself. You know where they stole that from, though? Jean-Claude Van Damme fans like myself. There's a movie called JCVD where he plays himself in Brussels, and there's a bank robbery, and he's in the middle of it as himself in the movie. And I feel like it's a riff on that. Like people watched that, and they were like, "We could do that with Nicolas Cage," And I'm weirdly excited to see that movie. I just the part where he's talking, Tiffany Haddish is talking to the other guys. So, did you see Croods 2? He's like, I'm a 44-year-old man. No, I didn't see Croods 2. I saw Con Air and Face Off.
Yeah. That does look like a good movie. I mean, Nicolas Cage, I know he's done a lot of kind of B-list stuff over the years, but he's got some classics under his belt.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you sign on, a contract with the wrong director or the wrong thing doing. It happened to Cuba Gooding Jr. had the same thing where he had a string of where he just had B movies coming out, and it happened to Pulp Fiction. John Travolta. It happened to him again. No sleep. And so that stuff happens when you sign on to the wrong stuff. Yeah. You sign a deal thinking I got to make this money, take care of the family, and then Bruce Willis is in the middle of it now. Bruce Willis got another Die Hard that's going to be coming out. It's going to make money and that, but right now he's in the middle of like this 10 movie thing where it's just B movie after B movie. Yeah.
And also, again, another thing that would make you proud, Mike. My wife and I, we started. This is Us. We're on season 2, and I've got to say, I really hate. No spoiler alerts, but I hate what they're doing with Kevin's character so far. It's in a little too close to home. It's making me sad.
Where are you? Where are you on the new season?
No, I'm on just season 2.
Oh, okay. So you got a ways to go. You got a ways, man. It's just enjoy the ride because it's phenomenal. And Sterling K. Brown is probably my favorite actor right now. I think he's the best crier, period, of all time that I've ever seen. His cry just looks real, and is like he has big, powerful tears, and it's man, he's great. He's fantastic. The whole show's fantastic. Sometimes the sister
Katie.
bothers me a little bit. She's a little like self-centered, but being the one girl and in the middle, and I understand what they're doing with that, and having the mom who is a singer and friggin' looks like Mandy Moore. You got to deal with that, So I understand where they're coming from with that, but man, and when you get in a new season like this last episode, I seriously just wanted to punch her. I'm like, I want to punch you, and I do not ever condone hitting a female ever,
Right.
but like I wanted to punch
her. Jack Pearson, I wish he was my dad, Mike.
Jack Pearson's a beast,
dude, incredible. I wonder how famous that actor was before this show, because I don't remember. He doesn't have a familiar face, but
Rocky's son. He's Rocky's son.
Really?
In Rocky, not in real life, in the Rocky Balboa movie, where that iconic scene where it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep on moving forward. That he's telling that to that actor in that part. He plays his son in that movie.
Spoiler alert, Mike. Of all the Rocky movies I've seen, a couple bits and pieces of some, but not a single. The only one I watched in full was Creed, and that's not even Rocky.
So you've never seen the original, at least the first, like their 5 is not great, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 are amazing. But like 1 and 2 are like award-winning movies. They're not like, they're like not boxing movies. They're like family movie. Him getting with Adrian and like, man, you seriously, you have, man, that's crazy. Sometimes you forget the age, like, I don't know, it just trips me out because I hear stuff like working at Daphne's. I hear like, I don't watch Marvel movies, or I haven't watched Star Wars, or I don't know what Die Hard is, or I don't. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, where are your parents?
Yeah.
I judge your parents.
Man, I was going to say something I forgot. Oh, well. Let's move along here, Mike. We're moving on here to one word. Mike, give me one word to describe how you feel about the 2022 Cowboys defense.
Wagnerless.
Wagnerless, I like it.
I don't care. It's not a word. They need Wagner, period. They had Wagner. They'd be good.
For me, Mike, I'm going with incomplete. That's how I feel about it right now. Even with bringing back Hooker, Kurz, Dorrance Armstrong, Fowler, and, being able to make sure that Tank's staying here as well. Of course, Micah. I just feel like there's still a piece missing, and I can't really put my finger on it.
Wagner.
Yeah, that's fair. I still feel like, man, I don't know. It doesn't seem like people are talking enough about a defensive tackle, like a above average defensive tackle is what this defense is missing.
It wouldn't hurt. I want to see what Neville and Osa could do in year 2.
Yeah.
Because Neville was hurt so much in this year that I don't even like. But him and Osa could be a really good pairing. The question is, can Bohanna stop the run if you're not bringing in Brent Urban? If you miss on Akeem Hicks, do you have a run stuffer? Especially since no offense to him, but he just is too beat up. It's not the rookie LVE. He can't hold up in there, So, and Cox is a cover guy. He's not a run stuffer. So I just feel like I know the game is turned away from running the ball, but if you can run the ball just easily, teams are going to beat you. Then that's why the Niners beat us. They could do stuff like that. We couldn't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, probably linebacker and nose tackle, or again, I think you make good points about Osa, because what he was able to do in Gallipore's absence was pretty impressive.
Yeah, Osa hit a rookie wall. Also, if you notice, the minute Brent Urban went out, the other DTs started not playing so great.
Yeah.
Right? Man, I love that because I call out when I'm wrong. Everybody knows how bad I was about Parsons, except for that Frankie J guy. Like everybody tells him, like, dude, this guy's been talking about how he's wrong on Parsons all year. And all year, this guy kept putting out stuff about, like, yeah, look how wrong he was about Parsons. I'm like, I know, dude. I'm there. I was. I've been saying it. But I'm also right sometimes. And I was Brent Urban train number one. Like, it was his wife and me. We were best friends because everybody else came after because my dad's a Bears fan. So I watched Brent Urban. So I was sitting there going, the giant guy, that giant guy is a badass. And I love the Ravens also. So I watched him a little bit in Baltimore. And I just knew it was a great, because people were like, well, why'd they guarantee who is this guy? And I'm like, trust me, he does his job. Now he's coming off another injury. He's a year older. I understand they may not want to bring him back. I would, but
especially in a cheap deal, that's what you love to do.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I totally get if they want to go get Hicks, though. I do not want to upset my best friend, Brent Urban's wife. I still drive the train. I would still like him on the team, but I also understand why they would bring in Hicks from the Bears. He's just, if he's healthy, he's a good run stuffer and he's a big game player.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, I gave you some homework a couple weeks ago, and you're going to give us a prospect review on Mr. Alec Pierce, wide receiver out of Cincinnati. Talk to us.
Right, here we go. I'm due to the sleep thing. I'm going to do a little bit of reading on my notes for him. I apologize, guys.
Stop. Go for it.
So my pros are he's a rare combo of size and athleticism. He would measure up to Dez, like very big. But don't get too excited. Very big, has a lot of speed, has a lot of size, has good catch radius. He's 6'3", 211 pounds. He runs a 4.41. He has a 40.5-inch vertical. He's an excellent contested catcher, which all Dez things. Dez was fast. He was big. He would go up and get the ball. He is a good run blocker. He's a good special teams guy, and he was good in goal line situations. Toss him up, toss the fade up to him. Again, Dez Bryant. Now the cons. Cannot separate. Say what you would, about Dez route running. He did have separation ability. He would separate some. He's not much of a route runner. He doesn't have a great burst at the top of the route. So when you're going to stop and come back, the corner can kind of stay with him. He's not going to get good separation there. He's not a yak guy, which is the big downer when you're talking about this player. The difference between why Dez Bryant goes in the first round and why this guy's teetering day 2, day 3 is because when you threw Dez a screen, Lord have mercy, he would punt return. So he could go get the ball in a fade. He could go catch the deep ball. And I believe Pierce can do that. But what else can he do? If he can't separate, he's not a great route runner. He when he gets the ball, he kind of goes down. He's not a break tackle person.
This is disappointing to hear.
Yeah. And he's still, if you get him day 3 and you develop him into the kind of what you were trying to do with Simi Fioku, big guy who's fast, beats guys on go routes. That makes sense to do that. Do I think he's a day 1 contributor? Yes, but it's on special teams. He's a really good special teams player. He can be a gunner. He could be a deep ball, goal line guy. So fade route. You have something where you set up a play that to make it like a play action off a run, and you get that guy a one-on-one, and you go, all right, he may not separate, but he's fast. He can go up and get it. It's a smaller corner on him. Maybe Philly drafts Trent McDuffie, and they send out 5'10", little-armed Trent McDuffie to face Alec Pierce. Throw it up. And Trent McDuffie's way better at his job than Alex Pierce is. You still throw it up. I don't care. Throw it up. You're good. So he can do that. Is he a realistic target for the Cowboys? I guess if say they got their guard or a D-in drops in round 1, a Stingley or a Jermaine Johnson somehow falls in round 1. and they pick him. And in the second round, they need to get their left guard. So they go Ed Ingram. But now Alec Pierce might be a guy they try to get at 88 to be like a guy that helps in the red zone, a guy that's a deep ball guy, a special teams guy. I could see that. I wouldn't bet on it, though. I think he'll go somewhere early on round 3, and I have a round 3 grade on him. To be honest, though, it moved up after the combine pro day stuff because I had a day 3 grade on him.
Okay.
But when you have that kind of size and athleticism, if you get the right coaching, you can make plays. And so I moved him up to a 3rd round grade.
All right. Well, a player that we were going to preview, but it sounds like you've done some homework on him, Mike. So I don't know if you want to just go ahead and get into it. But was going to be our prospect preview was going to be Ole Miss edge Sam Williams. You want to talk a little bit about him, or do you want to wait till next week?
Well, he's kind of been in the news. Do you want to pick another guy for next week?
I'll pick another guy, and I'll shoot you a DM. But talk to us about Sam Williams. What you think about him?
Okay, so Sam Williams, I do not like at pick 56, which is what a lot of people are talking about right now.
Yeah.
I believe Sam Williams is is honestly, tape-wise, is a day 3 guy. He has size. He has speed now. That's what's going to move him up. He ran a 4.46. And he had a decent broad or vertical. Like, he had good athletic testing, and he's a big dude. He has a lot of size. So it's going to move him up boards. He's just not very bendy on the edge. He doesn't have great get off, in my opinion. He's stiff. Would I like him as a day 3 pick? Like, I would. I think he is a guy that can develop a specific type of way as a pass rusher. The thing is I think we kind of got a guy like that in Golston. Long arm, bigger, stronger. Obviously not the speed, but they're going to win the same way. I just don't think Sam Williams is going to beat a lot of guys off the edge. I don't care how fast he is. I don't think he's going to beat a guy off the edge with his get off and bend and beat people around the corner that often. It's just not something I see, especially not early on. He may develop it. So I think because he mentioned Dallas and Jerry Jones talking about we need another Micah Parsons, people have kind of elevated him up into a stratosphere he's not really in.
Yeah.
And so I just want to kind of put let's not go looking for this guy at 56.
Right.
And let's make sure if we're getting him at 88, it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid guy at 88, but who's available? Like, let's not just jump on, if there's an offensive tackle available like Friette, Nicholas. Yeah, it's 3 names, 3 hours sleep, y'all. But if there's someone like that, maybe I'd rather have a risk on them and see what I can get from a Sanders later on at edge or something like that. So I don't want to get people to get. Is he a realistic option for Dallas? Absolutely. He fits their size, length, speed that they like. I think Dallas would pull the trigger at 88 easily. I'm hoping they don't make that move at 56. You know how they get in love with the player, but under Mike McCarthy, they've been much more disciplined on their board. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Pros is his speed, size, length. Con is his bendiness, his twitch. His ability to beat people around the corner with the said speed is a con. He's not great at it. But I believe he has all the tools to be an edge setter, to be a cleanup sack guy, to be a guy who could win inside with like attacking the outside with his speed and having the power to win back inside. So I would project him as a 4th round pick, but I think he could go anywhere from end of 2nd to us in the 3rd round. He won't get past 88.
Yeah, so he's not at 88. You run up to the podium. It's like, okay, well, who else is here before we make this pick?
Yeah, I love him. At 129, you can run to the podium, but I don't think he'll be 129.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I'll think of another guy, Mike. I haven't been able to do as many mock drafts this year as I'd like. So, but hey, starting next week, we're going to be doing a lot of mock drafts. We're bringing back the building the Cowboys series. So I'm excited for that.
Me too, man. That was rough on me, man. Having these, I have KT Turner coming on. I'm trying to grade KT Turner's draft. I'm like, obviously this guy knows what he's doing. Like he literally is on the draft show. Draft show and plug and play, man, are killing it. Jeff Kavanaugh is killing the draft game right now. With plug and play every Wednesday with Broadus and Brogler, and then draft show every Tuesday, Thursday. Kyle Yeomans, David Hellman, and obviously Brian Broadus and Jeff. So, man, just a lot of good stuff. And then having those guys on and trying to grade them, just I'll always remember Osa because I kind of, it had nothing to do with the player. It had nothing to do with, I didn't think he was good, anything like that. I didn't want another small defensive tackle. I was like, can I get a Brent Urban? Can I get a Bohanna? Can I get, and Kevin comes at us with Osa, in like the 5th round. And I'm like, do I have to have that guy? Or it was his last pick or something in the 4th round. And he was like, just remember the name. And so I marked it down. And of course we got him, and we know the history from there is pretty damn good rookie years. So shouts out to him. I gave him a B+ because of the Osa pick.
We've been really blessed, dude, with some really, truly amazing guests, dude.
I know. I don't know why. You're really good at your job, sir. You get people, because I would think I'm repellent. So why? Go on and let that guy talk over me the whole time? But for some reason they come on, and it's awesome.
You're too humble, sir. You've made quite a name for yourself, especially on draft Twitter and Cowboys Twitter, my friend.
Yeah, I'm the guy that hated Micah Parsons the most. What a great way to be. Just like the best player in the best player in like the last 5 years draft. It's just crazy. And I was like, oh yeah, give me JOK if you have to get a linebacker. What a moron. And I'm grading people's drafts. Oh boy, do I have you guys fooled.
My God, imagine if we had drafted Micah and JOK, dude.
We did. Hey, we might have. Cox is coming.
Oh yeah.
Cox is coming.
Very true. Well, Mike, as always, man, I enjoy the discussion tonight. Before we get you out of here.
Pause. Pause.
Oh,
At
Lord.
CD Piglet, nice and easy. Cox is coming.
Thank you for the episode title, Mike. Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you guys next week. I want to give a shout out to LP Cruz at Stonehall Sports and to the Star Vision. And we had another viewer tonight, Mike, but they didn't show up in the chat. So thank you guys for showing support and showing love, man. We sure do appreciate that.
Live, especially. We're hard to deal with live.
All right, guys. Y'all have a wonderful evening.